Are you any good with your hands? Are you any good at making things, doing things, creating things? Is that your thing, or is that a bit beyond you? Now, as many people know, I am a pipe smoker. I decided I wouldn't smoke my pipe in this particular episode, but I have pipes all over the place, you know, and they're fantastic things. I love them, and I enjoy the smoking experience, the nicotine, of course, being very useful, and so on and so forth. And I actually follow a guy, his name's Chris, I'll put the link in the description should you be interested, who makes pipes. Harriet Pipes is called. And I single him out because I happen to follow him on YouTube. And every week he does a video and he shows these creative pipes that he makes. Now, of course, this may not be your thing. You may not be a smoker at all. You may not be interested whatsoever. But it's fascinating to see somebody, he's in France, and he has his little workshop and he creates pipes and he sells them online, and it's a sort of, you might say, a cottage industry. It's rather beautiful. Somebody who's passionate about what he makes. And of course there are people like this across the world in small numbers, in little pockets, who are members of little groups, and they make their things. In the bigger world, of course, we've lost ourselves to commercialism. We've seen the highly industrialized world churning out tons of stuff, and people are there pressing buttons, operating machines where raw materials come in one side and the finished product comes out the other. All standardized, all the same, and distributed up and down the country. And often you'll see people perhaps buying, and they think they're being ever so clever because they're putting together furniture in a flat pack from some of these companies that just sell all the nuts and bolts and then a bit of wood or compressed chips into wood chip, that sort of thing, or MDF, whatever it is, and they think they're ever so clever because they've managed to put together a bookcase in perhaps 3 or 4 hours as they've tried to read the instructions and work out what goes where and how come I've got half a dozen screws left over. But that's not really being creative, is it? That's just sort of doing a jigsaw puzzle once in a blue moon. And those things that are just put together in that way, they're not really intended to last a long time or forever. And maybe you're one of those people who've got heirlooms that your parents or your grandparents or their grandparents before them, a piece of, perhaps it's bulky furniture and you think, oh, I don't know, or perhaps you've got something more delicate that was intricately made by a craftsman in the old days, in eons ago, in history, and it's still there. We live in this world of chuck away, disposable, landfill, and we're no longer using that much of raw materials that when it does fall to bits and degrades, it just goes back into the soil, it goes back into the earth as part of Mother Nature, as part of this earth that we live on. Whereas nowadays, of course, we're using all these petrochemicals, we're using plastics, we're using stuff which takes eons to degrade, and in the process it's poisoning the planet, and we're finding the water table is being penetrated by all these toxins in the plastics that seeps into the water and means that you can't go and drink from fresh springs anymore because those springs in the water table have become polluted, and that's a great shame. I think we are at a tipping point now where we've seen the danger of huge commercialism. We've seen the danger of manufacturing products that has no heart in it, no love, no life. And when I watch Chris, who's making his pipes, and they are available to be commissioned, and I think I'm going to have to commission one of them because they just look so beautiful. He loves what he does. And I think we need more craftsmen like this. We need communities where people get away from the, oh, I can't be bothered to give anything a try, I'll just go and buy it. Or worse, I'll just order it online and it's manufactured even in another country on great big shipping containers. And then is, you know, oh, I've got that now. Am I happy? I don't know. Chris is extremely happy making his pipe, and people who buy his pipes, I can imagine, are extremely happy knowing that this is a unique piece of art. It's a unique item that nobody else will have. It's not copied a million times. He may have a similar shape and somebody else, but that is unique. And that, I feel, is so special and so important that we get back to that. Admittedly, we do have to have some things manufactured. I'm not saying everything has to be made by hand, but we need to salute those craftsmen and perhaps look at doing it ourselves, at making things, because that sort of work is living. We're creating something with what skills that we can learn and using our hands. And I think that's why we're here. I think that's part of our purpose, is to be creative and not just be in a world in which you consume loads and loads and loads, tons and tons and tons of stuff. I mean, even myself sitting here with these two lights and a camera here, a beautiful young lady over here making sure that I don't slip up and say the wrong thing, and putting out my videos is a creative process. Admittedly, not as creative as I used to be when I was doing the Bald Explorer stuff and we were out and about, and I would be looking at different shots and trying to pull focus and get depth of field and have camera movement and a bit of drone shots and stuff. And you can check back my back catalogue, of course, by going back, say, 2 or 3 years, and you'll start to see some of the walks in the countryside, some of the longer format stuff that I was doing, more documentary style. That is creative. Writing a book, as what I'm doing at the moment, that is creative. When you start being creative and you do something, and yesterday there was nothing, today there is something, and it's all down to you having created it. There's that sense of achievement, that sense of living, that sense of happiness, and then you give that something to someone else and it means something. We need more of that in this world, and I think that's why we're seeing so many troubles at the moment, because we're coming to the end of this consumer materialistic nonsense, and slowly we're beginning to realize that was a huge mistake, and we need to get back to the land, to growing food, to creating things with our hands and building those communities. I think that's where we're going very soon. Thank you so much for watching.